Kevin, let's start talking some baseball. Look, they have a plan. It looks like it's gonna go ahead with a 60-game season. What are some of your initial reactions to what was laid out there?
I'm amazed and dumbfounded that it took so long for them to finally agree to a deal. I mean, only baseball can screw up something so drastically. However, as you said, they finally have a deal. They're ready to go. I understand a lot of the rule changes. I like the no DH. Let's just get rid of it and move on. It's stupid to have one league playing with the DH and the other league pretending that pitchers can hit. They can't. So let's move on. There's 4 that can, and the rest it's a joke. I hate the runner at second base. I understand you have to do it because nobody has enough arms to get through this. Nobody's going to be in shape. Nobody's ready to pitch more than whatever. So you're going to have, a way to make sure games don't go 14 innings.
Yeah, well, look, a lot of people haven't seen that, Kevin. Explain what the rule is.
So we go to the 10th inning, and the team at bat automatically starts with a runner at second base. As Doug Glanville on ESPN this morning, earlier this week, he called it the magic double. Suddenly, there's just a guy on second. All right, you bunt him over to third, fly ball, you score a run. Maybe, if that's how it works. It's worked. I think about 70% of games in the minor leagues that have used this rule, 70% of the games now end in an inning. So it accomplishes what they want to do. They save arms on pitchers, and they don't have these games drag out for 18 innings. But I don't know. Sometimes I like a long baseball game that can be exciting as well. One team scores 3, the other team scores 3. It can still happen. Believe me, I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping they go through bullpens and there's nobody left to pitch because of this rule.
Hey, Tariq, the other big rule change that I think we're going to see on a more permanent basis is that whole thing that the pitchers have to face a minimum of 3 batters. That's like flying under the radar. That's a major change, I think.
Well, think about it this way: you don't want to run out of pitchers. That's the other thing too. You don't have your specialists anymore, and if they are specialists, they better be able to get a couple batters out in key situations. I think the interesting part about baseball is the fact that you're not going to have it at 4th of July, which is just it's dumbfounding to me. Why Kevin talked about this earlier? It took so long. We could have gotten to spring training and then gotten games starting on 4th of July. You would have had the biggest audience possible, seeing as you can't have barely any fans in the stands anyway. But, I like the DH thing. I think it's time, but this is an exploratory year. You can't really go with the same traditional baseball you've had before. Any crazy, kooky idea that you had, put it in 60 games, find out what happens, and see if we can make this more of a March Madness type of baseball tournament to see who stands at the end.
Kevin,
I agree. I like the idea of do what you can right now. That's a good point. It's 60 games. Let's see what you can do. But I wanted to bring up the one thing. Earlier this week was the anniversary of the greatest game ever by a pitcher. June 23rd, 1971, and the New York Post did an item on this. Rick Wise threw a no-hitter against the Big Red Machine, the Cincinnati Reds, and hit 2 home runs. So there's one guy out there saying, let pitchers hit. He's the only one.
Yeah, Kevin, I want to just dust on one thing. Hockey guy that you are, everyone knows, big-time hockey guy. When the NHL had that 50-game season during a work stoppage, I found the games really compelling that year. I thought it was a good year for hockey. Will baseball be able to accomplish the same thing with a 60-game schedule?
In some ways, they're playing they're only playing their division and then the division across from them. So the AL East plays the NL East, and that's it. I'd like to see more variety, but I get it. You can't. So they're doing what they can. And yes, every game will matter. Now, if Mike Trout gets hurt, Aaron Judge gets hurt, how could he not? Whatever the case may be, you miss 2 weeks. That's almost a quarter of the season. I mean,
get hurt or get sick.
Yeah,
right?
Very good point. And guys are obviously going to contract this. And
when they get it too, so say for example they get it early, they come back and they need a star player, or if they get it late and they miss the playoffs. I mean,
and not only that, but how do they? The contact tracing that's going on in real life. Do you take everybody out of the lineup then? I mean, I don't know how they proceed once a guy tests positive.
Tariq, last thing. I mean, a lot of things have to go right for this to work, don't you think?
Not only do they have to go right, you have to have. Remember, we're dealing with a lot of different states that have high numbers now. So it's and I'll cover this a little bit later on Unfinished Business with NBA. What if you're running into a place where the numbers haven't gone down, they've gone up? And what do you do with those sort of games? So it's a very scary moment, but I don't want us to be trapped in fear and not do anything and cancel the season. Let's see what we can do for as long as we can do it, and take it from there and have some sort of sport.